Hello, ladies and gentlemen. When you think Destiny, you're either the person who thinks, are people still actually playing this game? Or you're the type that acts like someone just talked about your mom and said they're your dad. They call you their son, and all of a sudden your manhood has been expunged from this existence. Except it's actually the Destiny fans that nurture Bungie like they're their mom.
We gotta defend Bungie with everything we do. We have to defend Bungie.
Or something along those lines. And honestly, I should probably preface this or preface if you're that type of person that wants to correct everyone. This is a Nazi-free zone, people. That includes the grammar types. See, you can't be a grammar Nazi when I point out my quote mistake. I put plenty of hours into Destiny 1. To be exact, here's a screen grab. 1,975 hours and 40 minutes. Those 40 minutes are probably spent on the loading screen or something. I don't know. Because we all know loading screen. Actually, no. Supposedly, it only counts how much game time you actually have. Like playtime in the open world. But who's actually counting besides that website? I played the hell out of Destiny. I loved every minute of it. I love that I could play, get to max level through every single DLC, do everything, get all the new exotics, and then move on to some new game. I mean, my backlog is pretty big right now. I have PlayStation Plus games that's been free, that's been given out last year, that I've still not even touched. I like games. I like all kinds of games, and not just Destiny. The point I'm trying to make is, I'm not someone who hates Destiny just to hate it. Anyone who puts almost 2,000 hours into something, they have to enjoy it. And up until this point, I was a huge fan of Destiny. Then Destiny 2 comes along. 828 hours. It's not a lot. That's how much I have in the game. But it's still, I mean, not many people can say they put hundreds of hours into one specific game. Destiny 2 more or less was Destiny 1 on launch. Personally, I didn't care because I thought Destiny 1 on launch was a decent game. My only complaints came when the DLC came. My complaints was about the lack of story. To me, a story has to have cinematic cutscenes. A story through a narrative perspective. Or no, it's the meme that's come to be today to where your hero James says, stories need cinematics. And then the narrator says, there was no cinematics. And it's like, what? Pikachu shocked face? How could this be? It could be because Bungie. Not ironic that Bungie, how could it be? Bumblebee, PP, Centipede, ground beef. When Destiny 2 came along and what I had come to expect Destiny 2 to be, it got me spoiled. I didn't like Destiny 2 on launch, but what can you do? You just either have to accept it or move on. And boy, did I see the writing on the metaphorical walls, because don't write on walls, people. That's graffiti if you don't own the property, and it ruins how something looks if it's your own property. And you also only do it if you have chalk. Do it on the sidewalk. Rain washes away all of your horrible drawings. It's ironic that most people draw penises because those are the easiest things to draw. Let me just draw a reverse heart right here. And yeah, all I gotta do is draw a little, I don't know what the shape of a wiener is. An oval shaped rectangle on the end. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But as I was saying, what can you do with that game? I was part of the problem of what Destiny 2 was going to be and how Bungie crafted the game into what it was gonna be. I gave Bungie my money every single day. Okay, not every single day. I mean every single release that there was a new DLC on that same day. Actually, it was before because I pre-ordered all DLCs in Destiny 1. I pre-ordered Destiny 2. I got multiple beta codes from my local GameStop to be able to give them out for free. That's how much I wanted people to enjoy Destiny 2. Overall, Destiny 2 for me, it wasn't lacking story-wise. It was lacking in the content to do. And I'm not one of these people who say that I want more grind, because let's be honest, I was playing Borderlands the pre-sequel, played through every single activity in the game, all DLCs, everything. I only got up to level 68, and I could not be bothered to grind out the rest of the levels to get to the max level of 70. So yes, while I do love some grind that actually has progression towards what I'm working towards, I don't want to be forced to grind needlessly just to be able to play something. I should be able to grind at my own pace and keep playing what anyone else is playing, and I shouldn't have to get to point B before I can actually start on point A. Point A being the raids, point B being the required light level. It's a needless level gate that 2 guards on the front, big Cabal commanders.
You must come through here to pass.
What? No, I want to play the raid now.
But you're not high enough light level.
Well then, I guess we got a problem because
You will listen.
No, I will not listen because I want to play the raid.
You will not play the raid.
Well, what if I'm gonna play it anyway?
You will be destroyed by the enemies.
Well, fine then. I guess I will. Whoop, there I go. I'm dead. Thank you, Bungie. Thank you for not allowing me to play the raid. Needless to say, though, in my
Awesome Cabal voice,
I beat the raid in Destiny 2. Most people on the Reddit, when Destiny 2 came out and the raid was released, it was praised to the moon and back. Like Elon Musk just launched a whole family to Mars and created the United States of Mars, Africa. Because, you know, he isn't full American. He's actually from South Africa. Did you know fact right there? But now I'm straying, and I'm sure I'm doing that a lot. When Bungie made the Destiny 2 raid, it's like Bob Barker was invited to their studio because he missed The Price is Right so much, so Bungie asked Bob Barker,
Bob, can you give your opinion here?
"Yes, Bungie," he replies.
Give us an idea for a raid.
Dogs with lots of health. So much health that they make Michael Vick take a deep gulp. "Just so you know, I'm yanking your chain, Bungie," he says. "Oh, and make it where you have to collect some flowers to give to the dogs so you can damage them." Bungie replies,
Yes, yanking chains. The Guardian has to lower chains. And to cap it off, human tic-tac-toe. And with the final boss, the floor is lava. Thanks, Bob.
and then all of a sudden Bob Barker turns around and looks and, "Don't forget to get your pet spayed and neutered." I'm sure the crowd goes wild. Woo! Destiny 2 from launch, I could tell by the raid the direction they were going in, and while everyone else said it was casual friendly, I was like, huh, you see that raid? Not casual friendly. And if I'm being honest with you, I thought every single Destiny 1 raid up to that point was easier than Destiny 2's launch raid. But as I said, I saw the writing on the wall that was soon to come with Bungie. They made a bad game and they were going to listen to the crowd. They were going to listen to their fans of DTG or reddit.com/Destiny the game. Like, those people know what they're talking about. What drew me away from the game? Why I feel that it will never recover? Because Bungie listened to the community too much. Bungie listened to the streamers. The streamers went to Bungie. They were like, "Hey, Bungie, we want harder content." They made harder content with Escalation Protocol, and I'll talk more on this later. They made harder content. Everyone that wasn't a streamer on Reddit was complaining, "Bungie, it's too hard. Bungie." Bungie ended up lowering the difficulty. The community said, "We want harder raids. We want more grind. We want us to feel rewarded for being hardcore players. We want to be rewarded for logging in every single day, playing for every single hour of the day. There shouldn't be people who stop playing and then come back 2 months later when a DLC releases and they have everything we have. Bungie, no, you're not what makes the game." If only the 1 I think it was 2% at the point that's beat the Forsaken raid. If only 2% of the people who played Destiny bought the game, you know how much money that would be? We're talking about in the hundreds of thousands of players. We're not even talking about millions at 2%. If 2% of the hardcore players who played the raid played the game, and there's even people on that Reddit who don't even raid and they play this game. Like, the entire last DLC, Black Armory, was meant for those types of players. Bungie listened to the 1% and made a game that they wanted. And it was honestly at that point that I realized that this community is just a bunch of people who have no other games to play. The same people who want a pat on the back because they're a narcissistic person that should be rewarded for being the 1%. It's like the Bloodborne or the Dark Souls community to when they get the platinum to the game and they're like, "Here's my platinum. Ha, I beat the game. It's a hard game." Well, you know, it's only hard at the beginning, but when you get used to it, it's actually kind of easy. What they're equivalent to is like a politician with free healthcare. If you are the only one benefiting from it, it's not a good thing. But Destiny's hardcore players can't see that. It's like every politician gets free healthcare. But then when the other people who wants part of that Destiny healthcare wants a piece, no. You are not the 1%. You are not the ones running this country. You get what we want you to have. We're going to make the game we want, and you're not going to have a part of it. And well, we see how that went for Destiny 2 Forsaken sales. And let me tell you this, if Destiny 2's Forsaken sales were lacking, you better believe I would bet my left nut that Black Armory sales were lacking even more. Hey, pay $40 for this. Now pay $35 for this. $75 you're paying for this. Not even a new game. It's an expansion. You're paying more for an expansion and some mini DLC than you are for a full-blown game at $60. Hell, you can put $75 in and buy a special edition of a game. But hey, what do I know from a business standpoint? I'm not Activision. I'm not Bungie. I'm not the 1% that's crafting a game to my liking. You craft a game to your liking, it's going to lack sales. It lacks sales, all of a sudden, your game's not as popular. It's not going to be able to do as much because it doesn't have enough money going into it. When all of this set in with Destiny 2 Forsaken, I realized I was a hardcore player in Destiny by choice. Bungie listening to the community forced me to either become one without choice or fall behind and not play. And with Forsaken, that was the final straw. It went from a game that I loved turning on, going to raid, playing a Nightfall. I even played Trials with my friends sometimes. You know, I'm not much of a Trials player. It's not that I'm not a multiplayer player because I play Overwatch every single day. I did weekly strikes despite what people didn't like. I did them just for fun when there was no incentive to do them whatsoever. It went from a fun game to a game to where it became Crota's End all over again. Every single time in the raid, I would know that even when I wasn't comfortable playing Swordbearer on my Warlock or Titan and I only played it on my Hunter, it became at the end of the raid, so who's going to be our Swordbearer? And all of a sudden crickets start chirping, and when no one says anything, even the crickets go silent. And I have to say, well, I can try it on my Titan, I can try it on my Warlock, and if I can't do it, I'll just switch to my Hunter. I was that guy that wanted to learn how to do it, but no one wanted to learn how to do it. The 1% of the people who raided relied on other people. And then I knew that if I kept LFGing, that I would eventually have to rely on other people, and these raids became so technically problematic that I just stopped doing it. Because Bungie's community, reddit.com/r Destiny the game, yes, you're the culprits, are the ones who crafted these raids. And I guarantee you they're the same ones who would be dead silent in Destiny 1 when someone would ask who's going to be the Swordbearer. In my opinion, and I know this is going to be controversial, the fan base, the community on Reddit drove this game into the ground, drove this game into what they wanted it to be, what they thought they wanted it to be. And I'll touch on that later because my god, people, they really thought what they wanted was sure, but then it became well. So let's start with the problems that arose when I decided that I was officially done with Destiny. And Forsaken, the power level was, in my opinion, such a step back. 600 different ways to get power gear, and you can count on one hand the ways that actually gave you true powerful gear. And then you had to cut that in half with it only being 2 or 3 soft caps along the way. And before you knew it, you only had 1 or 2 ways to actually attain powerful gear. But if you go from playing Borderlands to the Destiny level, it just feels so archaic. It's like you should play the game and get leveled up on your own time. But Destiny is, you have to play the game to play the game. You're under leveled for the raid, so you have to play the raid to become raid ready. What board meeting that line came up that I don't even know who thought it was a good idea. So what's the light level for the raid gonna be? 600. But that's the max level. That's right. You have to play the raid to actually be able to play the raid. My god, dude, you just got a bonus. No, CEO. No, scratch that. I'm selling the entire company to you right now for $1. No, 1 penny. No, I'm gonna give you the whole damn company. The Destiny community wanted that. They wanted
Harder raids.
They wanted
Challenging content.
play the raid, and I quote, "No, you made the raids by recommendations more shit than Paris Hilton and Justin Bieber doing a collaboration song about sponges. They used to be fun, now they're just a chore." Which, ironically, is what the entire Destiny game became. It used to be fun, now it's a chore. You have to log in every single day. Anyway, what's next on the list? You want further proof that Bungie and this community has forced you to play? Xur doesn't sell new exotics, and he won't anytime soon. The community on Reddit wanted more exotics to be rare. Bungie obliged. Xur never sells exotics, now the fans complain. That's not what we wanted, Bungie. We wanted a middle ground. Make Xur sell exotic. No, you wanted a more grindy game. Now Bungie's like, hey, fuck You're gonna play this game until your throat gets so dry from talking, which is what's happening right now. You're gonna yell at your screen so much that we're gonna force you to play. We're gonna force the grind on you. You're gonna have to grind and grind to get new exotics. Yeah, thank you, Destiny, the game. You blame streamers for making content too hard, and now I blame you, who was once a hardcore player, who strayed away from the game because of people like you, because of your community, because you thought you wanted exotics to become more rare, and boy, did they become rare, and now all of a sudden,
Bungie, it's too rare. Bungie, too rare. Bungie, too rare.
you got what you wanted, so don't complain, because you made this game. The game in its current state, the reason it undersold, it's not because of Bungie. No. Bungie made a game that I enjoyed in Destiny 1. A game that I would at least play in Destiny 2. A DLC that I bought in Curse of Osiris and Warmind. And then Forsaken comes along and
They've taken the community's ideas since Destiny 2's release. And now all of a sudden,
why am I still doing that voice? And now all of a sudden, the game is what you made it. It's not in Bungie's hand. It's in Destiny the game's hand for the undersells a game. It's almost like they don't know how to make a game. That's what it's like. When I played Forsaken, I got one exotic, the Lord of Wolves. And to say the least, I was disappointed because it ran out of ammo quicker than my desire to play Destiny any longer. When I spotted the first soft count, and by the second soft count, I had already switched off of the Lord of Wolves to even reload it. You guys want even more proof? The new Forge that was released in Black Armory is way based, right? Fans wanted reasons to play. Then the very next day, they complained about being underleveled. The very same people that wanted a slower progression to the max power level. They wanted leveling to not be so easy, and I'm sure if you're an outsider looking in, you have to be face palming at this point. You have to be. We want harder raids. Gives you hard raids, then says they don't want them anymore. We want slower progression. Slower progression. Now you're not able to progress quick enough to be able to play the new activity. Complain. We want rare exotics. Gets rare exotics. Still complains. And you want to facepalm even more? This even happened with Escalation Protocol and Warmind. Bungie, by the way of the community, said it was too hard. The streamers, when it came out that they're the ones that wanted the difficulty to be taken up, guess who blamed them? Our Destiny the game. That's right, people. The same people who wanted all this harder content blamed someone when it was too hard for them. And then it's the same Destiny community who, when someone says that the raids are too hard, it gets downvoted to oblivion, they tell him to get good. It's the same community, though, that when they feel something's too hard, they'll upvote it to the moon, send it back to Earth, launch it again just to rub it in your face, and be like, yes, it's too hard. We're ready. We won't change now. Not change on this guy's time who only has 3 hours a day to play. Not change on this guy's time who only has an hour to play. No, we want it on our time. And what the fuck are you doing, Bungie? Like, you're listening to a community that's went back and forth more than a Kim Kardashian on marriage and a boyfriend, Kendall Jenner. With him, without him. Kourtney Kardashian, with him, without him. Khloe Kardashian, she's with Tristan. She's not with Tristan. Tristan's with it.
Chloe.
You know, it's almost like, yet again, that this community aren't game developers, and they don't know what actually makes a good game. All this content in Black Armory could be done in under 2 hours. You complained about Curse of Osiris. You complained about Warmind being short, lacking content, and now you're on board with this Bungie pricing model that gives you 3 little pieces of content for $35. Destiny the game's users on Reddit complained about the short raids in Crota's Inn for the price. Now they embrace them. They embrace what they complained about. Why? Because it's what Bungie does. You become Bungie's bitch when you're okay with the little content and constant pricing. You complain about something and then you accept it because it's like, well, we learned a while ago that they don't have enough time to put out content as quickly as we would like. Right, so they could either hire more people to get content out quicker, or you could just not accept it. Not to mention, and I saw this, that Bungie's video games, Destiny, still runs on an old Halo 2 or Halo 1 engine. It's just a beefed up version of it. So if you see Destiny 2, some textures or whatever, and you're like, you know what, that kind of looks like it's an old Xbox game, polished up, you'd be right. And you want to know how I know that Bungie knows their content is lacking? The annual pass is the first content in the series that isn't sold separately. Why the hell would a studio be like, we're only going to sell this one piece for $35 and not sell it for, well, we're going to release it individually for $12? What looks more appetizing to someone buying it? This one-time purchase of $35 or this spread out over time purchase of $12? You'd be right, that latter one of $12 looks better. I can throw down $35 now or get this for $12. And then when you think about it, it all makes sense. Super easy to understand why Bungie isn't selling it. As it stands now, each piece of content would be equivalent to about $11.33, and you would have 1 cent left over. So let's say you sold them for $12 individually. That's $36. You're only putting forward $1 more at the end. And then when you actually think about it more, it completely makes sense. When you see the lack of content in those, and then Bungie would have to sell them for about $14 or $15 instead of selling them for $12, you would see that it's not $12 worth of content. That's exactly what you would see. Or is it that Bungie knows their sales are lacking, and so instead of taking $12 here, no, we're not taking $12. We're only going to take $35 from you. I honestly believe it's a mixture of the both. They know that it's not $12 worth of content in there, and they also know that they need more money, so they're going to make $35 off of you versus $12. So I'm about to wrap this up. Destiny used to be good, and I've said this, and it was good. I anticipated every single piece of DLC release. At that time, I didn't care about the price point. I didn't. I have the money to throw down. I could buy it if I wanted to. When you see one flaw that starts approaching, all of a sudden everything becomes unmasked, and it's like an epiphany to where you once shunned and where you once threw away the flaws, you didn't acknowledge them. When they come to light, you start nitpicking every single thing. And part of it was when they started listening to streamers, when they started listening to the community, wanting to make things harder, wanting to make it more of a grind, wanting to make this turn from an actual video game you play to a chore, to a second job. That's where I drew the line. Like, I'm not playing Destiny because it's the only game I'm playing. It's the only game I can play. It's the only game I have. I have so many games I've not played, and I played it because it was fun, not because I wanted a challenge, not because I wanted raids to require to know calculus and have a PhD in genetic engineering. Bungie needs to stop listening to people who don't even know what they want, and they cannot have any consistency in what they think they want. And until Bungie stops listening to the people in this community, this game will never be what it was in its glory days.